good evening, and welcome once again to another edition of our Government at Work program, a program brought to you by the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration and hosted by yours truly, Keith Scarborough. This program, I remind you, is broadcast live on VON Radio every Thursday evening from 8 to 9:30 p.m. Then we broadcast on Nevis Television on Sunday evenings from 8:30 p.m. It can also be seen on Facebook and YouTube shortly thereafter. This program is designed to inform and educate citizens, residents, as well as visitors to our shows of the many positive developments that are taking place here on the island of Nevis. It's another wonderful Thursday evening here in Nevis, and it's a time when many persons look forward to a night filled with information as it pertains to the continued good governance of the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration. I, for one, look forward each week to go deep into discussions with the ministers of government, the permanent secretaries, the advisors, the department heads, as well as top officials from the various statutory corporations to ensure that our listeners and viewers are given as much truthful information as possible, especially in times like these when some are set out to mislead. We also make every effort to keep the discussions as frank and as honest as possible so that you, my listening and viewing audience, could get a true reflection of what's happening here in the land that we all call home. We shall take a short break, and when we return, I shall introduce my guests for this evening's program to you. So stay locked on to the Eastern Caribbean, the powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean, VON Radio 860 AM.
So rise, St. Thomas is rise, St. James is put together and build your land. Rise, St. George's and St. Paul's together with St. John's. This land is enough for all to share. No reason to leave and go nowhere. Foreigners can come here from America and England. There is something mighty sweet about my land. And if the foreigners who live here can insist that it's here they're from, then I swear I'll never leave my native land. One people, one country.
Welcome back. Folks, I am pleased to have as my guest this evening the Minister of Health and Social Services et al., the Honorable Jahnel Nisbett. Honorable, good evening and welcome once again to our Government at Work program.
Good evening.
And let me thank you up front for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this evening. As usual, it's always a pleasure having you as our guest. You know?
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Great, great. Now, we are on the eve of our 42nd anniversary of independence, and we have seen a number of activities taking place thus far in celebration of this anniversary, including this evening's cocktail, which has been hosted by Her Honor, Deputy Governor General Miss Hailita Liebert. By the way, did you get a chance to attend any of those activities that has gone by so far?
I think we've had quite a number of different activities, some on a larger scale and some on a smaller scale. Mm-hmm. I did not get to attend as many as I would like, but we did host, the CCM party did host a community day, mm-hmm. And that was on National Heroes Day. We just wanted to celebrate the heroes within our community, interact with families, give everyone a safe space to celebrate. So that was quite a fun day that we had out in St. James.
Okay, great, great. Now, tomorrow is September 19th.
Yes.
It's the actual Independence Day. It's a holiday. It is this day when the uniformed guards go on parade at the El Camino to Willett Park. And it is also the day when several of our citizens are awarded for their contribution to the development of the island of Nevis and, of course, the people. This year's parade is scheduled to take place at 6 p.m. I suspect that you will be attending.
I will definitely be there.
What would you be looking forward to at this parade?
I think I look forward to seeing the armed forces and the different community groups come out in their numbers just to celebrate as one, to pay respect to those who would have contributed to nation building, and to just showcase our island and our country at large. As a powerhouse, we're a tiny island, we're a tiny nation, but we're a powerhouse in the Caribbean, so
that is
definitely.
True. That is true. Now, we have quite a lot to get into this evening, but I wanted to ask you up front about this flu-like symptoms that is going around. Some people are speculating that it might be the return of the COVID. Do you have any information at all as to what may be causing this flu?
There are some influenza viruses that are circulated. as they do every year. I do get updates from my medical team at the hospital on a regular basis. So some individuals have shown some signs of flu-like symptoms. When it's serious, they're tested for COVID. So COVID never completely disappeared, but the numbers are at this point still small, 1, 2 here, there. But it's really looking like a traditional flu that's affecting our people right now. So we just have to do what we have to do, wash our hands, drink our fluids, take our vitamins, and even if you feel like your immune system is weakened, you can still wear your mask. They're always useful even outside of COVID.
True. Honorable, I want to start this evening's discussion by asking you to give us an update on the new diagnostic wing that is under construction at the Alexandra Hospital. The last we heard was that the Taiwanese was assisting us with some further designs. Where are we with regards to that effort? And if you can, tell us when you expect work to resume on this new wing.
Yes, we did engage our Taiwanese technical partners to provide some feedback and potential way forward. At this point, we've gotten 3 submissions from them of 3 different alternatives of how to bring this project to fruition. So we're discussing those at a cabinet level and selecting the best way forward for Nevis. At this time, we are still hopeful for a 2025 restart date of that project. So once that analysis is over and we identify the finances, we will continue forth with that service. At this time, I want to, of course, reiterate the fact that this new wing will host areas such as physiotherapy, the lab, the pharmacy, radiology, and these are all services that you still have access to right now at the Alexandra Hospital. In fact, over the years, they have improved tremendously at our current facility. We used to have to travel over to St. Kitts to a private facility to get CT scan. Right now, that's accessible right there at the Alexandra Hospital. We have our mammogram machine there in radiology, and thus far, we've been able to give at least approximately 500 women free access to that machine. There is a cost on everyday basis. However, we've done a number of promotions. In the first instance, when we implemented that machine, installed it, we offered free mammograms for 6 months, just so that everybody had the ability to be able to get tested, know their health status. Again, in March, when we had Women's Month, we would have launched a week-long activity where we allowed women to once again come in and capitalize on the free mammogram services that we offered there. So those are right there. Our lab has expanded some of the tests that they're able to do there. I won't get into the technical details of those, but you can feel free to always contact the lab to know what tests they have available at any given time. At our pharmacy, we've recently done a massive overhaul at our pharmacy, where we gutted the entire pharmacy, put in new cabinets, new storage facilities, new paint, new professional medical grade flooring in the pharmacy. So just last week, we would have relocated back into our primary pharmacy. So if individuals are at the hospital and searching for the pharmacy, we are back in the new and upgraded space, safer for our employees, better for our patients to come in and get their medication. We've also added services such as we partner a lot with a lot of international organizations and medical professionals. So this last month and July would have seen us capitalize on offering pulmonology services to the people here on Nevis. And a lot of individuals weren't necessarily familiar with those, and so they were able to do some sensitization about your sleep patterns, sleep apnea, different lung diseases, and I think the public was very receptive of those. We are expanding our eye care program every day. We added new equipment there, and just last year they were able to do a new surgery that was done for the first time here in the Federation. So I say all of that to say that the hospital is fully functional. This expansion is designed to improve the flow. So some services will be relocated there, but at current, we still have those services. And in addition to those, you'll have areas such as more wards, some private wards, conference rooms, nursing and doctors' areas, and additional operation theater. But right now, you still have your full access to your slate of medical services.
Okay, so we are really not missing anything,
No.
so to speak. Okay, great. Now, A number of dispatchers were recently employed to assist with the emergency service here in the island of Nevis. How helpful has that been thus far for the Ministry of Health?
I think right now we're still monitoring the process of that, but that is the way forward. That is the future for the island and the world at large. You want such a scenario where there's an emergency situation, and when you call 911, you're connected to an individual who's trained in keeping you calm, helping you through the situation while simultaneously dispatching all the personnel that you need. You might have called for an ambulance, but they are able to send the police at the same time. If it's a fire, they're also able to dispatch the fire services. So that helps us to have a more integrated approach to that. So right now we're still ensuring that all the kinks are worked out in terms of the phone lines, the transfer of calls. But it's definitely, we're at that point where it is the future, it's the present, and it will definitely enhance how we respond to emergencies.
Great, great. Honorable, I want to speak to you now about a concern that is being raised, which has to do with the visiting hours at the Alexandria Hospital. I remember, and I'm sure you do too, during the second town hall meeting put on by the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration, which was held at the Jessup Community Center, a retired pastor spoke to that very issue. He was arguing that visiting hours should be restricted for some persons, or should not be restricted for some persons, namely close family members, pastors, and close friends, because according to him, sometimes it is those visits that helps the patient to recover soonest, knowing that their family and friends came to visit. I would like to hear your response to that argument, actually.
I mean, our preference will always be to be at home surrounded by our loved ones. However, if we're in the hospital, we have to still maintain a level of safety, security, and structure there. So the current visiting hours are twice per day, except on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and those are the surgery days. So twice per day, 11:30 to 12:30, and 4:30 to 6 p.m. daily. So individuals can capitalize on those spaces to visit their friends and families. What we have to bear in mind is that most of the wards are shared wards, so you're on a ward with several other individuals, so your family is not necessarily their family as well, and you have to give individuals a chance to rest, recover. And when you're in the hospital, that's when your immune system is most vulnerable. So you can't have individuals coming in and out all day, all night. A conversation is being had at 10 p.m. while you're trying to get some rest to recover as well. So it's a balancing act where we definitely encourage family, friends to come and visit and support, but you still have to have a collective responsibility to everyone there. Doctors and nurses also need an opportunity to be able to provide care, medical grade care, communicate patient information without someone visiting and overhearing.
That's understandable, quite understandable, and it's something that we have discussed before. But apparently, the pastor feel like the pastor brings a sense of hope to that patient and so forth, and he feels like, and not only he, other persons, that the argument they're making is that it helps rather than takes away from, while they understand that the nurses, doctors, and I'll let you say it's quite true. They still feel...
It definitely helps, and so I encourage them to continue to visit within the parameters that we have. But I just want to emphasize as well that in certain scenarios, if it's children, the hours are more flexible for parents, etc. If it's a young child, they might be able to stay with their child. If it's someone who has a poor prognosis in terms of survival, of course, we wouldn't stop family, friends, and the pastors from coming in to lend that prayer, lend that support as the individual is in that critical state. But on a regular basis, I think we have to really understand and accept that in a shared space, you have to have some level of structure, and from you try to carve out for one group. We have quite a number of pastors. Everyone will have a number of close family members, and so you would disrupt the flow of care to those individuals.
Okay, point taken, point taken. I'm sure they're listening because I know they're adding fun to this program. Now, someone who knew that you will be the guest this evening wanted me to ask you for an update on the health centers in the health center in Charlestown, And while you're at it, perhaps you could give us an update on the status of the other health centers across the island as well.
Okay. So, as we know, the Charlestown Health Center would have been relocated to the Wards building. From conversations with individuals who utilize the center as well as the staff at the center, it is an effective space. They're able to have a nice flow of care. The individuals come in, wait, they have the examinations room, etc. It's a safe, clean, and effective environment. So right now we are just focused on keeping that up to date while we plan for a new facility in Charlestown. But we always ensure that you're not disadvantaged while we work towards another goal. So all the services are accessible. We've recently added an examination table there at that center. 2 dental chair units were recently added in the past 2 years at that dental unit that's connected to that center as well. We continue to provide services such as vaccinations, pre-postnatal care to women and children, and a host of other services, including free pap smear for women, which we know is essential for their health, and various doctor days across the different health centers. So all the centers are being maintained over time, so there's no big works to be done at any of the centers in particular. We have a maintenance team that continuously goes around and checks upgrades, what we need to upgrade, and the services are being provided very well to the community at a primary level.
As you're aware, we're in the middle of the hurricane season. Any special preparations that the Ministry of Health do, especially in the health centers across the island?
In the hurricane season, across government, there's a collective approach. You meet at disaster management to examine your disaster protocol, so there would be one in place for health. The individuals know what equipment areas need to be packed up in the event of a hurricane warning. They know the individuals who will be on call at the emergency center in the event of a disaster. So there is a collective plan that is known across the health sphere.
Okay, great. Now, Honorable, I want to turn your attention to the much talked about proposed development, which is under consideration for the southeastern side of Nevis. A lot has been said by those in the know and by those who don't know. But I would like to hear your thoughts on this proposed development and its possible impact on the Ministry of Health in particular.
Okay. So every development is worth exploring, definitely, and I think it's essential for individuals to have accurate information rather than those who are spreading misinformation and being alarmist. Currently, discussions are being had regarding said proposed development, and of course, health would play a critical part in that. Any development that would bring in mass amounts of individuals, you also have to have consideration for health. So for the foreseeable future, Alexandra Hospital will be the main and sole hospital here on the island. And if that development were to come to fruition, they would have certain health centers as well. And so we would be, of course, in continuous discussion on how to partner to improve our current facility and share resources. Currently, we do so with different groups already. You have donations in terms of equipment, in terms of personnel, medical personnel may be coming in to that zone as well. And that is room for partnership right there. And so we've been having different discussions surrounding that. Health also extends to environmental health. And a key component of any such proposal within the sustainable zones would be that they would have to present a plan as well for their waste management and disposal. So those would engage us as well as solid waste and the entire health.
Okay, great. You used the word partnership twice. I know it's early in the game and we do not know what the future holds, but how important will it be for the Ministry of Health to partner with such a massive development if it becomes a reality?
I mean, it's always essential. Health is wealth. It's going to be a collective approach in the event that it comes to fruition. It simply will have to be a partnership with every aspect, with security, with health, with immigration, with every aspect of society. It will not be a standalone society. So there will always be overlap and interactions.
Okay. Do you foresee that the Ministry of Health will be having any discussions prior to any development? I know the government will, but the Ministry of Health in particular, will there be discussions with regards to the
Well,
Ministry of Health
prior
and
to
Upper-
development, the entire collective government is having these discussions, and
Okay.
that's why you have different ministers with
Right.
different portfolios.
Okay.
So as we're having these discussions, you of course would highlight certain areas that would be relevant.
Okay. Now, I remember when the Four Seasons was about to open its doors in 1991. The Navy Silent Administration then was fearful that they were going to lose a lot of their top civil servants because the Four Seasons at that time were proposing to offer a better salary than the Navy Silent Administration was able to pay. Premier Daniel then had some serious discussions with the operators regarding that situation. If this development becomes a reality, does the Ministry of Health, or you in particular, fearful that we may have a similar situation? Are there any such fears coming from you at the end at this time?
Four Seasons came when I was just about one, so I don't remember the specifics of that coming, but
It was in terms of the salary, because,
Yes.
I mean, I remember
Yes.
it well. There was a serious fear that
Yeah.
top civil servants would leave because of the salary they were
So-
thinking of paying.
We live
And I remember the Premier Daniel, I was working there, and he came down to have serious discussion and beg them please to
Yeah.
take that thing down. So I was wondering if you, as the Minister of Health, have any such fear that...
Currently, I don't have that fear. Of course, it would be something to monitor and have further discussions on. I think it's a free market, so there are always going to be individuals who offer more than government, and sometimes we offer more than the private sector as well. I think individuals within the government also benefit and appreciate the level of stability in terms of job security that being an employee of the state offers them. Even during COVID, when private sectors such as Four Seasons had to lay off individuals, different organizations had to lay off individuals, government would have maintained all their employees. So that fear is not imminent, but it's something that we can have further discussions on if needs be.
Okay. Well, we just spoke of the fears, but I'm sure there's a lot of positives as well that you see. Share that, speak to us about the positive that you see as Minister of Health with the coming of this massive development once it becomes a reality. Tell us about the positive that you see that could
Well,
happen from that thing.
Any development of this size would, of course, bring different benefits in terms of financial benefits to the island, and those financial benefits can now be channeled into areas such as improving the health environment that we have here on the island. And a situation such as that where individuals are coming in, where I mentioned earlier, you would have individuals from across the board. Some might be medical professionals in different specialties as well, and you can develop those partnerships where you can contribute to the island, your services to the island on a whole. So I think we just have to, there's employment opportunities, there's just opportunities to, we always say we need to build out the population of Nevis. Every year I see like the statistics of the number of births we have on the island, and it's always just about 110, 120. So we definitely need to build out the population of the island, and so there is potential for a project such as that to contribute in that area as well.
I agree with you in terms of population. But let me ask you this finally with regards to that project in the south. What would you as Minister of Health like to see happen between the Ministry of Health and those developers in terms of health specifically? I mean, for one, we know nurses is difficult to come by right throughout the world, not only here, throughout the world. Nursing is a problem. You don't have enough nurses and so forth. Do you foresee the Ministry of Health benefiting from their health setup that they're going to have in the South once it becomes a reality?
I mean, that would be the hope, that would be the vision, that it works together in a mutually beneficial relationship. As I said, they might be able to attract different nurses, different medical professionals from across the world as well. They might have the salary to attract those individuals to bring them in, and once they're on island, I think we can develop a relationship where their services aren't restricted to one area, and those services are now afforded to other individuals on the island. With any development, there is always some social responsibility, social aspect of those as well. So that would be another area where you can tap into for partnerships. Most of these developers have an area where they offer, whether it's scholarships, the donations to the hospital, education, etc. And so those would be a factor in any form of development.
Okay, great. I want to turn your attention now, Honorable, to the solid waste unit here in Nevis, which falls under your portfolio as well. And I want to speak specifically about the excellent initiative that was put in place by the CCM-led Nevis Island administration to remove all of those derelict vehicles from the streets of Nevis. It is an initiative that started a few years ago, but was discontinued. However, I understand that it has started up again. So shed some light on that for us, enlighten us as to the work that is involved in this operation.
Okay, so currently what we have done through the Solid Waste Management Corporation, we have engaged an external company who are now on the ground and operational at the Solid Waste Management Corporation. Currently, we brought in a baler, and so they're currently crushing and compacting those vehicles that we've already collected and have on site there at the Solid Waste Management Corporation. Those will be shipped out on a regular basis as enough is there for load. Those will be shipped out and exported out of Nevis. Earlier this year, through collaboration, mainly through the NHCS, they would have hosted an island-wide cleanup of a lot of these derelict vehicles, and we would have lent support through health in terms of promotion and helping to inform individuals about their roles and responsibility, whether it's a vector or some other problematic consequences from them having these derelict vehicles. So that first phase went out. They were able to collect quite a number of vehicles that are now being crushed at the dump. What we're doing currently, we're planning on engaging our stakeholders once more. So the NHCS, Solid Waste Management, the police, and the Environmental Health Department, so that we can come together and find the best approach for cleaning up some of the remaining wrecks that we see on the island.
Now, let me ask you this. Give us an idea as to some of the areas where this exercise has been carried out thus far, and which areas are next in line.
So it was an island-wide approach, so individuals got the opportunity to phone in and say, you know, there's a wreck here, can you remove that, etc. So it was an island-wide approach that was taken. So the next phase is now there were some individuals who were resistant, whether it's a mechanic, whether it's an owner who has sentimental value, etc. There are some individuals who are resistant to removing their vehicles as well. But through environmental health as well as the police force, there are mechanisms in place that can compel individuals to remove wrecks that are on the roadside, on property that's not their own, or wrecks that are acting as a vector for certain rodents and diseases. Right. So that is the next step, really sensitizing the public and get everyone to come on board willingly. And if we fail in that approach, then we will have to utilize some of the mechanisms for the collective safety and security of all of our people. There is provision for those wrecks to be moved at the cost of the individuals. So if we are offering to move them free of cost for you, just accept the benefit, come together and support the collective costs.
Okay. I want to take you back to the call, because you mentioned persons who call. Is that still ongoing?
That one is not ongoing currently. If we are going to do a next round, which we will plan to do a next round, we will put back out that notice so individuals can call and identify those areas as well.
Okay, because I know a couple that needs moving.
Then I'll make sure to call you and you can let me know.
Yes, but those who are refusing to cooperate, are those vehicles that they're refusing to move part of their decoration, or they're just being ignorant or what?
You know, I would prefer... There's some different reasons that are given by different individuals. If you have a mechanic, for example, they might indicate that they want to utilize a part, etc. But you still have to find a better means of doing that, whether it's removing the parts that you need up front and getting rid of the shell that's an eyesore as well as an environmental hazard.
Agreed. Now, apart from keeping the island nice and clean, what other benefits will the NIA and by extension, the people of Nevis get as a result of this nice initiative?
Because as I would have just maintained, these vehicles can be vectors. So you have rats, you have rodents, you have mosquitoes breeding in them, etc. So the health aspect is one aspect. Safety and security is another aspect, because a lot of these vehicles are being used to whether store guns, drugs, for criminal elements to hide those type of materials.
Right.
So that's another aspect. We want to see Nevis looking nice and clean as well.
Of course.
It improves your property value if you're living next to an area where there are 10 old wrecks thrown up next to your property. That depreciates its value as well. So we want to improve that. On the roadside, where some are abandoned at the side of the road, it can hinder the flow of traffic and vision when you're trying to drive on the motorway. So it's a lot of benefits, and I really can't see the drawbacks. So I think we have to come together. When these are compacted and shipped out, we also gain more space at the solid waste management dump, where you can now utilize it for other purposes, because we know land is a finite resource and we don't want to have to create a new dump here, there, everywhere. So we want to be able to export what we can.
That's true. That's true. Now, speaking of the solid waste unit, I understand that there has been some changes at the top of management recently. Could you shed some further light on that for us?
Yes. So we have a new general manager in the person of Miss Marva Frith. So she's our new general manager, and we have a new landfill operations manager, Mr. Everton Mitchum. So while we have these new individuals, I want to say congratulations to them. I'm looking forward to working with them and to seeing their vision for the Solid Waste Management Corporation. And of course, in the same breath, while I would have done it before, just say another final thank you to Mr. Hendrickson, who would have contributed years of service, years of passion towards building that corporation. He was instrumental in the plans towards getting this baler on the island as well. I know he's doing great things in his private endeavors, so I want to wish him continued success in that.
Okay, great. Now, Honorable, I want to turn your attention now to the Ministry of Social Services, a ministry that has been doing quite a lot for the island and people of Nevis. I call it the ministry that continues, that keeps giving and giving.
Yes.
Right. Quite recently, the ministry rolled out a new initiative that is geared towards helping parents with their infants between the ages of 1 to 3, which in my view is another visionary initiative by the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration. Tell us a little more about this new initiative.
Okay, so that specific initiative is being rolled out through the Department of Gender Affairs. So that initiative is the...
Oh, Gender Affairs.
Yes,
Right.
that is called the Action Plan, and it's a daycare voucher assistance program. And so what we were able to do with that program was identify, there were individuals coming to different town halls and advocating for the fact that there needs to be some kind of government daycare facility or assistance for individuals with children, because if you have two children in daycare, you can be spending up to $1,000 per month, and that is a significant portion of someone's salary who's making minimum wage. So that would have been advocated for, and so we decided that a good approach would be to be able to provide support to the existing daycare and the existing parents.
Right.
So rather than trying to build a daycare facility that can't hold all these individuals either, you might be in Combermere and the daycare is in Charlestown. That's inconvenient for you to bring them here. So we opted for an approach where we let individuals identify their daycare center, and we subsidize the cost up to about 75%.
Right.
So it's up to $300 on average. The daycares are $400 per month. And we subsidize those costs for individuals to be able to access the care that they want their child to have.
Right.
And the daycare providers, we don't compete with them, which would give us an unfair advantage as government if we undercut the service that they're also providing to the people of Nevis. So I thought that was an excellent approach, and individuals were really happy with that. This year we had our second group of children transitioning off that program into the preschools, because we know we have our government preschools.
Right.
And what we would have built on the initial program this year by having a crossing over ceremony of sorts where we provided some final forms of assistance to these parents to make the transition easier. So we provided them with up to $300 worth of vouchers, and these vouchers were specific to the parents' needs. So we didn't give a one-size-fits-all approach. Some parents identified that they needed uniforms, while others identified books and other goods. So we would have gotten vouchers from a different cross-section of businesses and given to those parents to match their needs. And I must say the reception was very good. The parents expressed how grateful they were, the financial relief that this program and this initial phase was able to help them for, and I was truly moved. And so I'll just want to tell you quickly how many of our clients that we've serviced thus far. So this year was the second cohort, as I mentioned. The first cohort would have saw 13 children transition, and then we had an additional 21 children transition recently. So some individuals would have also relocated, whether overseas or to St. Kitts. So in total, we have supported 59 families thus far, and I feel like that is definitely an accomplishment.
It is a great accomplishment, actually. Now, for those parents who are listening and maybe hearing about this for the first time, tell them of the requirements, what they need to do in order to benefit from this assistance package.
First thing I will say, I know when people hear gender affairs, they just think women. First thing I will say, this package applies to men and women. We actually had 2 fathers who were on the program, so we support anyone in need. One of the main requirements is we're trying to target individuals who are more financially strapped than others. So single parents with an income of $2,000 or less, or if you have a dual income household of $3,000 or less. And the child has to be a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, whether born or naturalized citizen. They can qualify for that daycare program, and it's from 0 to 3 years old. And the reason for that is because at 3 you now have access to the government preschool services.
Okay, good. I'm happy that you spelled out the requirements, because I figure listening to this program you could have been flooded with persons who are not qualified for it. Some persons who may have been working for 10,000 plus might be coming to you.
So we have to make sure that we don't just do a blanket approach to these programs, and you actually can meet and support those who need it.
Right. Now, speaking of social services, the Senior Citizens Month is just around the corner. It is the month that not only the seniors look forward to, but other members of the public as well. The month is normally celebrated with a lot of activities put on by our elders. Give us an idea of what is being planned for this year's Senior Citizens Month.
Well, the senior citizens, they have more energy than you and I put together, and so there are quite a number of activities that they're planning. Some include a moonlight walk. We have Seniors Got Talent, and you need to know seniors definitely have talent, so look out for that. We have a Senior Sports Day. We also had that last year, and so they've been training. They've been having their exercise sessions, their cricket practice, etc. They're having a community day. There will be a health fair for them as well. And in that month, it is our aim to launch what we call the Senior Safe, which is a program that will be showcasing all the different benefits that seniors at a certain age can access based on their tier as well. Because it's not only working individuals that are at certain income brackets. Sometimes you have seniors who have a pension of 8,000 plus those things as well. So we are refining our programs to be able to bring everything in one place. These are the benefits that are possible for you to access as a senior, and based on our assessment of your household, your life, etc., you might be placed in a different tier where you can access some, and the others would be left for more vulnerable individuals.
Okay. So do you have a theme for this year's Senior Citizens Month?
There is a theme. I do not have it with me, unfortunately, but there is definitely a theme for this year.
In terms of the activities, any special location for it? Or?
There will be across Nevis in different areas, because the sports day will be at El Camino Village Park. I believe the community day is aimed at being at the the Malcolm Gishard Park. Seniors Got Talent, the aim for that is at NEPAC. So we'll be touching different areas.
Okay. I remember a few years ago there was a seniors Queen show, which was a big hit.
It was.
That seniors talent, is it something along that vein, or just all of them doing?
Well, it's a broader scope than that. So this is your men, women, everyone who has a talent, all of these seniors, and they can put on showcase different aspects. The pageant was indeed a big hit. We go based on the desires of the seniors. So if they want to put on something like this, we see how we can support and facilitate that. And so this is one of the things they would have indicated they wanted to do. And so that's what we're going to do last year. We had a lovely tea party and fashion show, and that was exciting stuff.
It's always exciting when our elders participate and
Indeed.
put on activities. Do you have a patron for Senior Citizens Month?
No, we do not have a patron for Senior Citizens Month. That might be something to consider.
Right.
One of the things that we do during that month is a You Are Not Forgotten award of sorts. So we go around to, I think it's 5 individuals in the communities who once upon a time they participated in these programs, they contributed. These are seniors who are now more or less bedridden or stuck at home. And so we make sure that they know they are not forgotten. We visit, we bring whether a basket or a plaque or a token of appreciation, and ensure that we keep all of our seniors engaged.
Okay, great. Sounds good, but maybe a patron might be something.
That might be something to look into. And while we're talking about seniors, we would have recently been declared as a PAHO WHO age-friendly city. Charleston would have been identified, and that's the first such city in the Eastern Caribbean, so we are leading the way.
Breaking news.
Yes.
Government would work.
As an age-friendly city here in the region, and that designation was based on our programming, the support, quality of life of our seniors, their engagement, and so we're definitely proud of that, that accomplishment.
Okay, great. That is very great. Honorable, many of us could still remember the years when our senior citizens were put aside to live out their last years almost in hiding. But the CCM-led Nevis Island administration has put an end to that by introducing our senior citizens to a number of social programs and offering them several benefit packages, which has made life much more meaningful and comfortable for them. I want to give you the opportunity to remind our listeners and viewers of the many social programs that are being offered to our senior citizens, as well as the many benefits that are being given to them as well.
Okay, so let's start with the social aspect. All our senior citizens I definitely encourage them to sign up with our Department of Social Services, the Seniors Division, because we have a lot of social activities that we like to engage our seniors with, whether it's the weekly and monthly meetings within the different community parishes, those programs that I just listed before, our walks, our exercise session, they provide engagement and interaction so that you're not stuck home alone. We provide the bus service to collect the seniors who need to be collected in certain areas to bring them to these sessions. So definitely register with us to be part of our program. It comes at no cost whatsoever. The age group, I believe, it's either 62 or 65. Can confirm that at another time. But engage with us. We definitely want more men in the program, because right now we have lots of women and not quite enough men. So men come out and socialize with the women as well. We have different benefits for those who need it. Some need our hot meals. We provide hot meals to some of our seniors who need that service. Some of the seniors who needed the assistance with electricity and water, we provided that for them as well. In the past, we would have provided some assistance with bus passes. Seniors are also able to access different benefits that we have at social services, whether if it's that they're vulnerable, it might be a food voucher or something of that nature. We've gone in with our maintenance team and assisted vulnerable seniors who might have wanted a wheelchair ramp placed on their house so that they can get easier access. So those are just some of the surface benefits, and I think one of the big initiatives for the Seniors Month would be to collectively pull the benefits together, because there are also benefits at the hospital. Some services are free based on your age. So we want to pull those benefits together, and we realize that they're a little bit disjointed, as well as it takes an all across the board approach, which is unsustainable. So what we have to do is really identify those who are in need and give them access to the most resources. And if you're not financially in need, we give you more access as well to the social resources, the interaction, the engagement. We come for the milestone birthdays, we have the celebrations, we have the meetings. And that's the kind of system and approach we want to take to our seniors assistance program.
Okay, great. Sounds great. Folks, you're listening to Government at Work. My guest this evening is the Honorable Jahnel Nisbett. We shall take a short break, and when we return, we shall continue with our discussions here on Government at Work.
So right, St. Thomas is right, St. James is put together and build your land. Right, St. George's and St. Paul's together with St. John's. This land is enough for all to share. No reason to leave and go nowhere. Foreigners can come here from America and England. There is something mighty sweet about my land. And if the foreigners who live here can insist that he's here they're from, then I swear I'll never leave my native land. One people, one country.
Welcome back. Honorable, before we go to the break, we were discussing the social services and the many things that they offer. Just in case there are those who may not be aware of how they can become a part of the social programs or the benefits for that matter, I wanted to enlighten them one more time as to how they can go about becoming part of those.
Okay, that's as simple as a phone call, whether it's by the individual or by their family member. You know, they might ask their child to make the contact on their behalf. You can just contact our social services division and give your name and information, and we will add you to our seniors catalog of seniors. And then you can definitely join us at any of our meetings. They're normally put out on Vaughan Radio Community Calendar when the different seniors group in which area are meeting. You can just come out on that day as well and sign up. Trudy Prentice would be the one in charge of the seniors division, and she's always happy to engage more seniors in every and any way possible.
Okay, great. Give us an idea of your awareness programs that you offer, because I'm sure that there are those persons out there who would like to know more about the social development programs that you offer.
So our awareness is across the board. As I mentioned, we put a lot of notices in terms of community engagement on the community calendar. We have been working to improve our presence via social media. So the Seniors Recreational Group has a social media page that you can feel free to follow and engage with. Our communications unit, they are also readily available and they showcase a lot of what's happening within the community. Our Department of Community Development also has a social media page that you can feel free to follow and engage to stay up to date. Engagement such as this, Government at Work, is where we're sensitizing the public about what is going on. The Premier's press conference is another approach that we use to sensitize the public. When we're about to roll out the initiatives next month regarding the seniors program, the aim will be to engage seniors in different community centers as well, to have that dialogue. So we are continuously engaging, and so the information is there, and if you miss it, you can also feel free to just call the department and ask, you know, what do you have going on this month?
Right, okay, great. Now let me ask you this. Quite a number of persons are reaching the age where they are qualified to receive those benefits. Is there a cutoff point as to how many persons you can accommodate at any given time? I mean, we all getting old, you might wind up with...
Money is finite, so you always will have some sort of limit, but there's not a limit in the number of persons. What we are attempting to do, as I would have indicated, is to revamp the programs and revamp the benefits so that you're able to reach more people who need it, rather than you might have the first 100 might be individuals who have wonderful pension, they have a home that's paid for, they have children that are supporting them. Those are not the ones that require free electricity.
Right.
So you don't want those to be filling up that list and then you're unable to provide support to those who can't.
Right.
So what we'll be doing is assessing. We already do it currently based on our seniors that we have. They're assessed and they're placed into different categories, whether vulnerable or average, etc. And based on those ratings, we're able to tailor packages that would be more suitable to support you and enhance your life as a senior. So we don't want it to be a case of first come, first serve. We just want it to be a case where we have the resources to support those in need the best that we can.
Let me ask you this. What age do you start at seniors from?
Well, in some instances it's 62 and in some instances it's 65. So that will be one of the areas that we will be making consistent across the board as well, because at the hospital you get some services at 62, whereas the seniors group is 65. So we'll be standardizing across the board where the benefits come in as well.
Right. What if you're 51 years old, but you are really a poverty case, so to speak? You really don't have it.
Then you're captured in our different social safety nets as well. Social services offers a host of supportive programs to individuals that is not based on your age level. For example, you might be able to benefit from food vouchers, different forms of assistance. We would have helped with the registration of individuals to get on the PAP, on the lifts, on different programs. And so based on your age and your circumstances, we assist where we can, because at 51 you're still generally able to work.
Right.
So now the question would come down, are you disabled in some way, etc., and we provide the care in the best way that we can, but not just individuals sitting at home and decide we're not working. But some individuals need the assistance, and so we provide that support.
Right. Yeah. Okay, great. Now, Honorable, I want to turn your attention to your training programs. I remember last year you had quite a few training programs. You yourself was participating in some of them, was excited about it. What has become of those programs?
Those are still ongoing. As we wind down the year, you might see less of them, but they're still going. Actually, in matter of fact, on the 28th, there is one such training program, a FADS training program being done through the Department of Community Development. And that is a fishing-assisted device. I hope I did do that justice with the abbreviation. But they are training individuals in the community how to construct and use those tools to enhance the fishing experience. So it goes towards food security as well as job creation, teaching individuals to become entrepreneurs. So we had one of those earlier this year, and another one is scheduled for Prospect on the 28th of September. So if you're interested, just contact the Department of Community Development, and they will be able to engage you on that. We still have a lot of plans that will probably roll over into next year for different programs. One of those was an auto body repair workshop through Department of Community Development. We have the individuals who's willing to put on that program already, so we just have to secure the materials, and so we can look out for that as a community. We're always doing a new program.
Yes.
Over at Banscott, we would have recently received a donation to get a new oven over there, and we know we also utilize those for things like if we want to do a cooking class or different community activities. So we're always engaged in the community.
But what about your tiling workshop and your painting? You were very vocal with those two in particular.
Yes. So yeah, I definitely participated in those ones. Those ones were geared towards women, and those were in partnership with TDC and done through our Department of Gender Affairs. So they are already putting together plans for next year to find out what the interest is and what other programs we can put on. Those programs were put on to give you the basics and to stimulate interest in that area. So there's some of the women who did those training are continuing to pursue, whether it's the tiling or doing it for themselves or maybe trying to earn an income from that. So we're looking at different programmings that we can build on those next year as well, and keep individuals engaged. Maybe some metal work or some fencing work. We're looking at different areas. So,
are there any certifications to these training programs? I mean, at the end of it, you get a certificate to say you're qualified now to tile my house or paint my house?
No, these are not that level of programming at this point in time. These ones are, as I said, introductory to allow you to whether to attempt to do it at your own home or now you know you have the interest and capacity, you can now go pursue an official training course. I think there's some being offered at the Tibet in Gingerland, and I know sometimes there's some being offered on the island of St. Kitts. So we are opening up a new scope of possibilities for individuals, but we're not doing that certification.
Okay, understood. Just to whet your appetite and see if you like it.
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. Honorable, I want to move your attention now to the community development unit, because that in itself, how many portfolios do you have? Because you see,
I have two hands, but I have more than two.
Do you have more than
So I'm juggling.
No, community development, community centers along the island, there are quite a few. So tell us a little about the usage of those community centers. I know what they were built for, but how are they being used at present?
The community centers are being used for everything community. So we have, most of the community centers have whether a hall space or something that individuals in the community can rent for different social activities. You might want to have a birthday party. Some individuals do that. We've had weddings. We have workshops. Even in a case where you're doing something non-profit, we often partner in those cases and we can waive the certain fees if you're doing a non-profit workshop, for example. Some camps happen at our community centers. Those spaces are also designated as hurricane shelters. So we always, every year we monitor to make sure that they are up to date, up to the standard to be classed as a center. In some centers, we've shared the space because some of them have big centers, and we've shared the space to do a preschool. At St. James, the preschool is in one aspect of our community center, and I find what better use of a community center than helping to raise the next generation of children, right? Sure. We encourage individuals in the community to propose programming that they would like to put on in the different centers. Sometimes you have maybe taekwondo in some, a reading program in the next, and we're happy to engage on that level. Our steel pan program that is being done through Jessups and down in Gingerland, that one is so prominent right now. We know that the community development group would have won the steel pan competition there in August as part of Culture Armor, so that shows the work that's going in at that community level. Over in Butlers, that we're constantly upgrading the centers. Right. Over in Butlers, we did quite a bit of work at that center there. We removed a lot of the windows. We resurfaced part of the roofing over there, did some gutting, did some cleaning, and so now the center is active and open for more frequent use again. I just went to a lovely birthday party there of a senior who tried to convince me that she's 80, but she doesn't look a day close to 80. So, we're making great progress in terms of building out those centers. I told you we just added a new stove to the Barnsgate Community Center. The Jessup Community Center is a prime location where they have their seafood fiesta, the Barnsgate, they have their breadfruit festival. So we encourage the community groups as well to utilize the centers to create a unique experience to showcase your community.
Right. I remember one of the things they were thinking of doing in the community centers is to have a little library there, or some computer classes as well. What has become of that?
In some of the centers, like if you go into Gingerland, that center has some books for children, like smaller age books for children and homework assistance, etc. One of the problem we have is our people, to be honest, and it's very disappointing that some of the centers get broken into multiple times and stolen from. So it's difficult to leave the computers and those things there because those have been broken into before. Even the very gas tanks outside of the community centers have been stolen multiple times, and those are there to facilitate things like the cooking classes, the community engagement. So if as a community we don't even respect the space that's designed for us, it's very difficult, but we're still working towards putting those programs in place. and continuing to offer those. But we need that collective buy-in. We need when you see someone doing something, it's your community. You pull them up. You have to be the security in your own community as well.
Right. I was about to ask you if any consideration has been given to put in security on the compounds of these things based on what you just said about the stealing of these items.
We would all like that, but that's an additional expense, and it really shouldn't come down to that. We have like 8 centers, somewhere around that, and so it shouldn't come down to that, because then is it round the clock? The community has to be the watchman for their center. This is communal property.
Right.
The same way we wouldn't let anyone come into our yard and rob it. We wouldn't expect to put a security there. We would be monitoring. We want our community to own and monitor their resource. It's yours.
I agree with you. It's unfortunate that we have to be thinking of security for a community center, because it really belongs to the community.
Exactly.
Right. No, I know it's a little early in the game, but your Christmas tree lightings, and we just 3 months away from Christmas, and you normally have a whole lot of Christmas tree lightings around the country. But the ministry itself takes care of about 3, 4, or 5.
The ministry hosts the main Christmas tree lighting in Charlestown. Last year we expanded a bit, and we hosted some different activities just to kind of build the vibe leading up to Christmas. And so we would have introduced like a pan in the square day. And so, we want to build on that. We also introduced a passport, tree lighting passport, which I think went exceptionally well, because I was at a number of the lightings. The lightings are put on by the community groups. We support where we can, but we encourage community groups to put on those lightings. And so you had individuals now, because we created this passport system where you had to go and get a stamp from each different tree lighting. You had to stay for a certain amount of time. So I chatted with some individuals. They're saying, I never even came into this community. Like I never even did this one, but now because of the lighting and the passport, they actually went around with their family to different ones. And it was very engaging. They won different prizes, and the feedback was spectacular, because I think we found that the attendance to some were dwindling, and we just wanted to build back that community spirit. And community isn't just, I live in Jessup, so I go to Jessup's. It's a Nivision community, and so that's the spirit that we were targeting. And so I definitely think we're going to take that approach again this year and build out on those activities leading up to Christmas, whether it's 12 days or we're working towards those. So you might see us doing a caroling in the square one night, or we had a movie in the square for the children last year. And we want to keep those activities going to remind us it's a season of giving, celebration, family interaction, and we're working on it already.
All right. Okay. By the way, I was supposed to ask about Curry Festa in Barbados. I saw a lot of mucker jumbies on stick, and my mind running. Did you go?
No, I was not there. I was there in spirit. My trainer went, and I think he represented St. Kitts and Nevis very well. Right. Looking at the clips, he was one of the tallest mucker jumbies that you could see.
I know he was there, but I didn't know which one was.
Yes. His daughter was there as well, because she was one of the representatives for the student aspect who would have gone to Carifta. So I think we had that wonderful representation of male, female, younger, older, showing that we are continuing the tradition. And we know there's a lot of different islands that have the same culture as well, similar. So it was a good opportunity for that
The only
exchange.
island that has a minister on sticks is Nevis.
So maybe next Carifesta I'll go and be the minister at Sticks. But this time we wanted to support the string band going. They represented well, and the Makajumbis would have definitely enhanced their presence at Carifesta. Right. I think they were the talk of the region, the talk of the town. So we were proud of what they were able to accomplish.
Okay, great. Honorable, tell us about the remainder of the year, your activities that is planned for or your training that is planned for the balance of 2025. And now we are in September.
Yes, as we get to the close, we start winding down and planning for the next fiscal year. So I would have mentioned the FADS training through community development. The Christmas activities will be one of the main set of activities that we'll be doing coming down to December through community development. The Department of Gender Affairs will be we'll be coming up on Men's Month in November. And so we'll be having a month of activities, of course, for that. We'll be collaborating with our St. Kitts counterpart to host our annual Men's Award. This year it's on Nevis. We've partnered so that we alternate where it's held each year. So this year it's on Nevis, and there is, currently we are working as well as a United Front to host the regional men's conference as well. So that will be hosted jointly in St. Kitts and Nevis this year. Okay. That will have a number of engaging activities, whether it's a barbershop session, actual workshops, engaging in the community. One of the areas that I would like to see that I will be pushing from my team in terms of Men's Month is to have a legal session as well, because I find there are a lot of men who complain in terms of breakups, divorce, when it comes to their rights as parents. And I think there needs to be more sensitization regarding their rights, responsibilities. How do you approach the court to get your fair share of custody for your child? How do you process divorce? How do you even manage those type of things? And I think that support is necessary for our men. So those are some of the things that we'll be pushing forward. In November to December, we'll also have the 16 Days of Activism, which is an international campaign against gender-based violence. So we do a lot of sensitization activities as well. Sometimes we do, whether it's painting a mural or engaging our Boys and Girls of Excellence. So the calendar for that is not out yet, but that's definitely something that will be on the agenda.
Is there entertainment aspect to the Men's Month? Because I heard a lot of training and workshops and so forth.
Yes, well, the entertaining aspect might be the Men's Award, it's very entertaining. But that's not finalized yet. All the programming is not finalized yet. But with every conference, there's a socialization aspect. I think there's cricket. Cricket is one of the areas that they want to have a game or something in one of the communities. So
sports and entertainment.
You want the
Senior Citizens Month have a lot of entertainment.
Because the seniors have energy. The seniors have more energy. You need to round up your male counterparts and get the energy up. The seniors want them. A senior's Got Talent. I would love to see Men's Got Talent.
Men's Got Talent. The program must be provided, and then the men will come.
No, the seniors tell us what they want, and we provide the support. Okay. So the men need to come together and say, we want to do this, and we provide the support. Say, boy?
I hear you. I like the aspect about men's right. Because women have all the rights in court.
We have same rights, just that a lot of times ignorance in terms of lack of awareness leaves individuals to think that women have all the rights, but the rights are there in black and white. If a man approaches the court, they have the same right in terms of gaining shared custody of their children. It's simply that we don't have the numbers approaching the courts. And so we want to be able to encourage. I personally don't want to see fathers throw their hands up in the air and say, well, the mother won't let me see my child, so I'm not seeing them. I want to help to provide the tools so you know how you can access your children. Because we have to fight to be in our children's life. I'm a firm believer in that.
I agree with you, but I would like to be part of that discussion, even just to be part of the audience to hear how that discussion would go.
Well, definitely.
Because realistically, it's not been happening.
Realistically, I think there has been the fear that the court is biased. But you cannot tell if you do not go to the court.
I agree with you. But I've been there to listen on many occasions, and the unfairness, I shouldn't say unfairness, the one-sidedness.
Well, I don't have any kids, so I can't comment on that, but I believe that you have to really fight, because I've expressed to people many a times, there is nothing that could have kept my mother away from me. No father, so there should be no mother that could keep you away from your child in the same fashion.
Some children are fortunate. You just put it that way. Some children are fortunate to have both parents working together in their interest.
And in the event that you don't have that mutual understanding, which I hope you do, we offer counseling services as well. So, but in the event that you can't work that out, we can help to facilitate how you go about getting shared custody, etc. Even through family services before it reaches the court, if they're involved, they try to mediate some of these relationships as well and see how best they can help the parents co-parent before it gets to that level. But all the resources are available, and we want to be able to help individuals find out how to gain access.
Okay. I meant to ask you this question earlier, but I forgot. There was a time when social services, I think, is that ministry, would assist needy persons with housing, if they're that desperate, if there's that need, or persons who get burnt out and so forth from fire. Social services would help. Is that program?
In some capacities, it's still there. There's no housing program with social services because it's unsustainable.
Yes.
If you build one house, that can be your budget for the year, right?
Got you.
So there's no specific program, but we do assess vulnerable individuals and assist where we can. Right now, we have a program in place where we're saying that if you can find the materials, we'll provide some assistance in terms of our laborers to help build something for individuals in more dire conditions. Like we had an individual whose house would have burnt down. We were able to come on board and tap in there and actually construct a one-bedroom structure again to replace what he had there, and in some better condition than what was there. So we were able to provide that. That was a senior, so he's no longer working, a vulnerable individual, and we were able to provide. But we know we don't have the resources to build a two-bedroom wall house, and I've gotten the request. But we do not have the resources to build like the average working class individual a two-bedroom house. It simply is unsustainable, as I mentioned. And we're looking to see how we can reach the most vulnerable in ways that they need. We would have built the ramp, as I mentioned. If certain individuals, we might help to put in electricity or water because they're not working. They might have different mental disabilities. So in those cases, we still support. There's just no apply and get a house for free because it's our collective money. I just want us as a people to realize that the money is not coming from nowhere. It's our collective funds, and so we have to ensure that we utilize it in the best interest of the population. Okay,
great. I remember one time there was some assistance given to a gentleman in Ginger in terms of housing, and that person went to the great beyond. What happens then to that housing that you would have provided for that individual?
And so that was the case in the past. It would have just been you're handed the house, and so if you passed away 2 weeks later, then that money now goes to that property now goes to an able-bodied person who...
Oh, so the ministry takes it back?
No. It goes to whoever your next of kin beneficiary is, whether or not they were assisting you in life or not. So we have to put mechanisms in place as well in certain cases where some things can come back to the ministry, but if we're not outputting that large number as well, it's easier to manage. But as you can see, cases like that, it's detrimental.
Right. This is difficult. Honorable, what would make 2025 the year a success for you? You have a lot of ministries under you, a lot of responsibilities. What does it take for the Honorable Jahnel Nisbett to say, well, 2025 was a lovely year for me?
So I approach everything with do the best that you can, and I definitely think at this point my team is doing the best that they can, and so that's what makes the year a good year, knowing that the team is doing the best that they can. I've been seeing and getting messages from individuals who might have stayed at the hospital, for example. One was just shared online recently, again, actually Miss Dawn Liebert would have shared her experiences via social media of her time at the hospital, and she would have definitely talked about the staff and how well she was treated and cared for, and that is what makes me proud as a minister. That is what I see as the biggest accomplishment and the most success, when individuals receive the care and they can say, yes, this was excellent care. Yes, we can have a bigger, fancier facility, but if you're able to tell me, yes, you have impacted my life positively, that's a success. When I read the testimonials from the individuals on the daycare voucher assistance program, and 2 of them would have testified at the handing over ceremony, that's what makes 2025 a success, because they talked about not even being able to have $100 saved, now they're able to build a savings. Now they've managed to see all of their children go through daycare now in primary school, preschool, and they never thought they'd be able to manage and see it happen, how they had to duck when they saw the daycare owner, but now, you know, they can drop off their children with confidence. So these individuals brought us as a collective to tears even, and that's how you're able to measure success. I know other individuals want to measure it by different metrics. That's up to each
Especially
individual.
financially.
Yes, this is not, I don't have a money-making ministry by any means. It's people-centered.
Right.
If you look at it, community development, health care, social services, it's people-centered. And so when I feel like people are impacted positively, that's when I think 2025 is a success.
Okay,
So I think we are well on our way.
Right. One final question. Which of your many ministries bring the most joy to you as a minister? I know each minister, I remember Honorable Eric Evelyn, he used to love that senior citizens thing. Jeffers, when he was here, he loved the housing and lands and so forth. What ministry brings joy to the Honorable Jahnel?
You know what? You know what your parents always say? I love all my children
You love
equally.
all your children.
So I think they all have their pros. I'm very passionate about all of them, to be very honest. Prior to government, I've been involved in gender advocacy. I hosted a number of events for the Department of Gender Affairs. I was always involved in community activities. I was always a big promoter of preventative health care. I just was actually able to share last week actually, for our Sneaker Day, all the years of my participation in Sneaker Day well before I came into this post. So I think I've already been engaged with all the different departments, and so now that I'm over them, they are my children, and I love them equally.
I love that response. All your children, love them equally. Any new initiatives for 2025?
Other than our Senior Safe program, that's our main initiative that we're working on rolling out for 2025. Any other plans will come and be shared, of course.
Okay, great. Honorable, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us this evening. I know you're a busy person with a lot of ministries, so I'm always grateful when you could make yourself available to be with us. Your final words for our listening and viewing audience.
Well, I want to thank you for being able to have me here so that I can engage with you and inform the general public about what is happening across the government and more specifically my ministry. This is just another platform where we get to share what we're doing and encourage people to stay aware and get involved in everything Nevis. I want to take the opportunity to wish everyone a happy independence. Have a safe and happy and enjoyable weekend. Please have fun responsibly. We want to be able to celebrate many, many more independence to come with our friends and family. So stay safe out there, have fun, and thank you all for tuning in and listening.
And thank you very much, Honorable. Happy Independence to all of you who are listening and viewing us at this time. Folks, we have come to the end of another edition of our Government at Work program. Join us again next week when we shall do it all over again. Do enjoy the rest of the evening's programming. Then have a pleasant night's rest. Good night.